the traditional conservatives and Reaganism and all this kind of stuff, they were trying to reverse FDR and LBJ, right? The New Deal and the Great Society. But the libertarians, they want to reverse Teddy Roosevelt, who was a progressive but not a socialist. I mean, he's just, he thought Teddy Roosevelt thought that regulating business was necessary in order to preserve it. He created our national park system, the Antiquities Act in 1906. He prosecuted trusts under the Sherman Antitrust Act, initiated the breakup of Standard Oil, which Taft finished. He established the Food and Drug Administration. Remember Upton Sinclair and the Jungle? It's just, I don't get it. Adrian Moore is with us, PhD, Vice President of Policy for the Reason Foundation, the libertarian think tank. He's the co-author of Mobility First, a new vision for transportation in a globally competitive 21st century. Adrian, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Tom. Glad to be on.
Why do you guys want to roll back Teddy Roosevelt? What's this, let's pass a law that says that the president can't create any more national parks nonsense?
Well, last time I looked, there were no libertarians in Congress, so I don't know why you're accusing me.
Well, you'd prefer to be called a Republican?
No.
Okay.
I am not trying to roll back anything of Teddy Roosevelt's. There are some folks in Congress that are upset about some of the activities of the administration on declaring new parks. And, I think there's these things, when they become political, there's always a certain amount of nonsense, and there is definitely a certain amount of nonsense.
But this is not political.
Their basic point is, Tom, that 32% of the square acreage of the United States right now is protected by federal, state,
and about 28% of the square acreage of the United States is absolutely uninhabitable.
Right. Well, don't you want your wilderness to be uninhabitable? That's kind of the point.
Well, that's what's happened is, and an awful lot of those national parks were lands that, during a couple of different depressions, but, basically since Teddy Roosevelt's time, people tried to settle them and they couldn't, and so the federal government took it back. People weren't paying their taxes and things, but what does the percentage of it have to do with anything? It's not like we're trying to declare Detroit a national park.
No, I think the point is how much of the United States needs to be declared a national park and be not developable, not usable in any way other than for recreation under government control. I think a third is probably a pretty reasonable amount. And even if the Republicans in Congress get their way and they slightly restrict, I saw a bunch of articles saying this bans future national parks. It clearly doesn't. It says you can only do so many new national parks per year in the future, so it limits the future growth of national parks.
Yeah. What was please refresh my memory here, Adrian. What was the horrible national park that President Obama wanted to create that's got that's
the
dander
sort
up
of nonsense I was talking about. I don't know. It was not even it was not what I think most of us think of when we think of national parks. We think of the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone and things like that. This was some very small, really.
I think it was Big Bear Dunes in Michigan, wasn't it?
I thought it was in California.
Oh, okay. Maybe it is. Because my wife and I were talking about Big Bear Dunes. She used to go there as a little kid, but in any case, wherever it is, what does it matter? Why is it that Republicans are just reflexively this knee-jerk, anything the president tries to do, they're going to try and take him down for?
Yeah, I agree. I think both parties do. It's part of the political.
It's not something both parties do. Adrian, when Reagan was president, when George Bush was president, the Democrats went along with the vast majority of the stuff that these guys did. And in fact, when Jerry Ford was president and when Bush Sr. was president, Democrats went along with an enormous amount of stuff that those guys
and they also introduced an enormous number of bills to spit in the eye of the administration. That's what political parties do.
For example,
Tom, seriously, you're going to say we can disagree ideologically, but if you don't agree that politicians tend to be kind of petty people, then I don't even know what we're talking about.
No, what I'm saying is that the Republican Party plays scorched earth politics. That a group of Republicans got together the night that Barack Obama was inaugurated in January 2009, and basically swore a blood oath to each other. And I've had Newt Gingrich on this program. He was in the meeting, and he's talked about it, and basically swore a blood oath to each other that they would obstruct everything he did, even if it was good for the country. Period. Because they wanted him to have a failed presidency so that history would look back on it the way that they've reinvented the history of Jimmy Carter. And then
they didn't have control of any of it. They didn't have control of either chamber of Congress, and they were politically desperate. And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
They had the ability to filibuster legislation in the Senate, and they used it regularly. And it was only 11 months there until after Ted Kennedy died, until Scott Brown was installed, when Obama had a filibuster-proof Congress, and he got a hell of a lot of stuff done during that 11 months, including Obamacare. But ever since then, it's been back to and Pete Sessions. I mean, he said we're going to be like the Taliban. This was his quote. We're the Taliban. I mean, I've never heard of Democrats acting like this. I've never seen a presidency where the Democratic Party blocked everything. I mean, look at the number of filibusters.
I disagree. And if I'd known we were going to talk about this, I would dug up something else.
Well, you should look up the facts, Adrian.
20 years, Tom, I've been watching politics for 20 years, and it's my observation that both parties are equally venal when they get in this opposition mode. It's the nature of politics. It has nothing to do with the parties. And whichever party is not in power tends to be the worst. The Republicans are really being bad about it now. You go back to the 80s, and the Democrats had periods when they were really bad about it. It's the nature of politics.
You had Democrats going along with Reagan on all kinds of stuff.
Republicans, sure they did, and
there's no Republicans going along with Obama, not one. I mean, even extending unemployment insurance. Extending unemployment insurance, for God's sake. There's 2 million people who are losing their homes. Their families are falling apart. They can't pay the coldest winter in history, and they can't pay for heat. And John Boehner says we won't do it unless you enrich the Koch brothers by another $40 billion by extending the Keystone XL pipeline. Seriously?
Oh.
I mean, that's what he just said.
Well, first of all, there are a lot of good reasons not to extend unemployment insurance. It's not unemployment insurance anymore. It's just another welfare benefit.
These people have been paying into it their whole lives.
We did welfare reform by realizing that you have to have some endpoint. You have to have some incentive to get off the dole. And
FDR told us what it was: make the government the employer of last resort, and when capitalism starts functioning again, dial it back.
Yeah, because we all know. Name to me all of the dial backs that the federal government has done in the last 10 years. The federal government doesn't.
There's no more WPA. There's no more CCC. There's no more RTC. There's
with much bigger and more expansive programs. They didn't get rid of
Star Wars.
Well, that was just a line item. I'm talking about...
That was $1 trillion.
Initiatives.
Star Wars.
It doesn't...
yeah.
If you think once the government is providing millions of jobs, that they are then going to stop providing those jobs when you don't even agree that they should stop providing unemployment insurance at some point.
No, I think that a job would be better than unemployment insurance. I agree with FDR that the best welfare program is a job. And I'm
not sure that make-work jobs are the best. I agree that a job is the best, but make-work jobs don't necessarily improve people's skill or willingness to get real jobs.
They give them a paycheck. Anyhow, Adrian Moore, Reason.org is the website. Thanks, Adrian.